Gabby Petito never goes outside. Coming in on the Swedish shuttle pad. I like believe that I could do any of it, so that's kind of been like a, I don't know, he's like down there, I don't know, we've just been fighting all morning and he wouldn't let me in the car.
Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. I'm covering the case of Gabby Petito today. There is a Netflix documentary, so I thought I just needed to cover this story. I'm going to be doing my makeup as I do this, but let me know in the comments if you prefer me not to do my makeup. But some of you have voted on my page of doing makeup and a true crime story, so for this video I'm just going to do my makeup. So Gabby and Brian Laundrie, they met in high school, and they started dating after high school in Long Island, New York. Gabby Petito was 22 years old and Brian was 23 years old. Now, they dated for a year before things took a horrible turn, and Gabby moved in with her parents in Florida. Now, Brian Laundrie's mum, Roberta, didn't like her. For some strange reason, she was really jealous of her. And if you've seen this Netflix documentary, you'll know that Gabby is a very polite and sweet girl. She's quite shy and quiet, but she's very likable. Now, Gabby's mum, Nicole, noticed that Gabby's address was changed back to theirs. Back to her mum's address, and she questioned Gabby about this and thought, does this mean you're coming home? And Gabby knew nothing of this change. It was very strange. I'm running out of foundation, that's great. So Nicole didn't really think anything too much of this, but she was like, well, this must be Roberta, because she didn't like Gabby, so they just found it a bit strange that they didn't tell Gabby about this and why she'd been making the address change back to where Gabby's mum is. Now, Gabby met a friend called Rose. They met online, and to begin with, she said in the Netflix documentary that Brian was a nice guy, he was polite and friendly, but there was something off about him, something she couldn't quite put her finger on. It was only after a certain amount of time that Rose noticed how controlling and manipulative he was being toward Gabby, but Gabby didn't see this, and they planned a night out just to go out drinking, just the two of the girls. And when Gabby arrived to meet her friend Rose, she realised her purse wasn't there, and she just knew that Brian took it out. She had to drive an hour back just to get it, so he didn't like the idea of her having friends. He was very controlling and just didn't like her spending time away from him. Shortly after this, Brian proposes to Gabby. He doesn't have a ring, so it obviously wasn't planned. It was almost as if he was just trying to make this big gesture as an apology, to apologise for the way he acted. And Nicole found out about their engagement on a Facebook post that his mum posted, which she found quite upsetting because, you know, this is her daughter. Why is she not telling her firsthand that she's been engaged? But she found a bit strange, especially coming from Roberta, who didn't even like Gabby. So why is she posting that, and why didn't Gabby tell her? It's almost like they wanted to keep it a bit secret at first. Gabby had a journal, and she said that she wanted to start a YouTube channel and she wanted a fan life, and she was going to go traveling with Brian and document everything. Brian didn't like this. He was like, this is stupid, it's ridiculous. He didn't like her filming, and you can see in the videos of her that she looks like she's walking on eggshells around him, and you can see it's awkward and there's a lot of tension between the two of them. And it was almost as if Gabby just didn't feel like she could be her true self, and you can see like in his eyes it's just something like dark and just quite soulless. She ended up working at Taco Bell, and she was working like 50 hours straight to get the money for the fan, and so she can start the life she wanted with Brian. He didn't like this, as she was going out more with her friends and her work colleagues, and he even texted her mum Nicole saying, look, she's spending all this time with them and not me, and I just don't like it. Before setting off travelling, they visited Gabby's mum, and in the documentary, Nicole says she remembers the hug, and this was the last hug she ever had from Gabby. It was the most warmest, tightest hug ever, and she didn't want to let go. And she turned to Brian and said, you look after her, and he looks her dead in the eye, smiles, and says, I will do. Little do her family know that that's not the case, that he would then go on to hurt her and kill her. Gabby went missing in August 2021. 41 days later, after they visit Gabby's mum Nicole and her stepdad, they find a photo in Gabby's phone of her face badly hit, and obviously there's only one person who could have done this, and that is Brian Laundrie. This is the same time that the incident happened in Moab, Utah. There was a call from a gentleman who claimed that he saw a man repeatedly hitting a woman. So police were able to locate their van and track them down.
It's not my job to travel across the country, and I'm trying to start a blog. I just have a blog and stuff, so I've been building my website, so I've just been really stressed, and he doesn't really believe that I could do any of it, so that's kind of been like a, I don't know, he's like down there, I don't know, we've just been fighting all morning, and he wouldn't let me in the car before. And then
why wouldn't he let you in the car? Because of your OCD?
He told me I needed to calm down.
And when they're pulled over, Gabby says that she was hitting Brian repeatedly in the van. Now, there's no evidence of this to be true. However, they both have visible scratches and bruises on them.
A lot of angles, a lot of nails, a lot of rings. Yeah, you got 3 scratches on your neck. You got one on the left side of your neck. You got one in your face here, and you got 4 bleeding over there. So it looks like 2 nails.
Gabby is clearly upset in this video, and she just wants to call her mum, and she calls her mum, and she says that this was just a silly argument about Brian locking her out of her own van. Her mum was like, just come home, like begging her to come home please. She didn't want her daughter alone out there with him travelling in this van with just the 2 of them, but she was like, Mum, I'm fine, it's gonna be okay. It's just a silly argument, and they want to continue their travels. The police speak to both of them, and they both have marks all over them. Brian is saying that Gabby sort of like attacked him, and she was filming and he was pushing her away to get the phone out of her hand. And Gabby admits she's the main aggressor, but the report of the guy is saying that the guy was hitting him. So in this case, the police have to go by what was said, and they send Brian to a domestic violence victims hotel, and they send Gabby on her way. The police officer's like, there's a place you can go and get a shower for like $5, and a lot of people were saying, why didn't they give her a hotel as well? Well, I completely agree, you know, but with the information that they have, Gabby is saying that she's the main aggressor, so they have to go by what is said and the evidence, and it's her van as well. So if it was like Brian's van, they probably would have sent him in the van, but it was her van, so they separate. They're told not to contact each other for the rest of the night, but they meet up later that night and they go traveling again. They continue their journey. They go from Utah to Salt Lake City. 10 days later, Gabby texts her ex-boyfriend, who is in the documentary, and he said that she is the love of his life, but the timing wasn't right for them. Gabby basically says to her ex-boyfriend that she's finally starting to realise how badly Brian's treating her, and was thinking of an escape route and was planning on leaving him, but didn't know how he would react to her leaving. Guys, I'm so sorry I forgot to hit record. I literally just did my eyeshadow, mascara and eyeliner, but let's continue the story. So Gabby's mum receives a text message from Gabby saying that Brian's camping out in the woods by himself, and her mum thought this was weird, like, why are you two separating? Are you guys breaking up? She was like, no, and I'll insert the text from Gabby here. The last known footage of Gabby was when they were shopping in Whole Foods. Experts believe this was the last time they believed Gabby to be alive. On August 29th, a lady named Norma picked up Brian, who said he was hitchhiking and needed a lift back to the campsite where his girlfriend was waiting for him in their van. She was driving, and as she turned a corner, a Bible was on her dash and it slid off and landed in his lap. He picks up the Bible, looks at it for a minute and places it back on the dashboard. Norma said he was a polite gentleman, he was quite quiet, but he wasn't really talking much, and it's strange to think that by this point he had already taken Gabby's life and just left her in the wilderness and a Bible falls on his lap. That's just weird. Norma says she can take Brian up to the actual van, and he was insistent on her dropping him off at the gates, because obviously he knew Gabby wasn't there and he was lying to Norma, but little did Norma know that she was driving a killer. August 30th, Nicole received this text from Gabby's phone about her granddad. She found it odd because she doesn't refer to him as Stan, because that's her granddad. Her granddad had been trying to get in contact with Gabby and wasn't hearing anything back. Nicole didn't think anything of this. She thought it was a bit strange at first, but just thought, well, maybe Gabby's driving the van and Brian texted her on her behalf. Gabby's mum was constantly checking her socials for any updates from any photos, videos, because Gabby was always posting and there was nothing. She started to text and call her daughter as she was starting to get worried, and she was not hearing anything back. She even reached out to her ex-boyfriend and he said he hadn't heard from her either. First they thought maybe they'd both got lost or went missing, but they hadn't heard from them in days. And it was 10 days since Nicole had any contact with Gabby at this point, so she calls the police and everyone is looking for her. They're making Facebook posts and signs, and they go and investigate Laundrie's house. They knock on the door. His parents aren't cooperating, which is weird. They're lawyered up and they say Brian's there and the fan's there. Even the police in this body cam footage shows that they find it's very weird, and as they know it's registered in Gabby's name, they take the fan. Brian lies and says that he left Gabby in a hotel and he flew back home to his parents' house, but the fan's there. How can the fan just drive itself there? So his lies aren't adding up, and at this point he is a suspect and they are keeping tabs on his house, and they have cameras on his neighbor's house.
I apologize for bothering you. I have the detective on the phone.
I'm not talking to anybody.
You don't want to talk to us? Okay, she's on the phone. You don't want to talk to her now? Okay, when was the last time that you saw Brian and Gabriel?
Well, Brian is here.
Brian is here?
Yeah, and that's all I'm going to say.
This was on August 11th when Laundrie's parents were saying that they don't know where Gabby was, and the police were saying, well, we need to talk to Brian, but they're refusing. This obviously hit the news big. It was all over social media, and the first time that her mum Nicole saw the body cam footage of the fight that they had in Utah, she had bruises all over her face, was on the news. So this was the first time she ever saw it, and she said you can see Gabby is upset and she's scared. On September 17th, police receive an anonymous call saying that it's going down in Brian's house. They're shouting, they think he might be dead or OD'd, so this leads police to investigate. They knock and his parents say, Brian's not here. He's been missing for a few days. We want to report him missing. They thought he just went camping for a few days like he does. It was completely normal. He'd take 10, he'll take food and he'll return, but he hasn't been seen in days. Now, police were questioned about how they let Brian slip out the house. First of all, they were saying there's so many people outside his house that he might have slipped by, and there's other claims that they saw him enter a car and leave, but they thought it was his mum. So he's obviously intentionally done this, and he's now on the run and police are looking for him. Police search his house and they find a very disturbing letter from his mum Roberta to Brian saying, I love you no matter what, I'll always be there for you, and says even if you need body bags to hide a body. Why is his mom saying this if nothing's happened and he hasn't done anything to Gabby? And this raises alarms with the police, and he's now a suspect, and they need to find him so they can find Gabby as well. Police receive a video from some YouTubers who are living the fan life. This is a crucial part of the investigation which helped them find Gabby's body. On the side of the road, the fan that Gabby had was parked, and these YouTubers thought nothing of it at the moment. They just thought, oh, they're making use of the nice weather and they've gone hiking. Now, the area where Gabby was found is so huge, so police didn't have an exact spot to look, but this video led them to Gabby's body. Gabby's body was found. She was laid down on her left side in the fetal position, wrapped in a sweater, and her boots were off. And experts say this is an unnatural position for someone to pass away in, almost like it was staged and her body was put in that position. In front of her body there was also burn marks on the ground, but police couldn't find anything nearby in the area to start a fire. Her stepdad was in the search team and he was the one who identified her body. He had to make the heartbreaking call to her family that she had sadly passed away. Experts believe that Gabby's last known day she was alive was August the 27th. They were able to get her laptops and devices, and they can see that she was moving files around when she was editing her one and only YouTube video. And they were able to see that 8:30 in the evening was the last time she moved files. On August 29th, Brian calls his mum, and experts believe this is about the day after that he took Gabby's life. He was on the phone to Roberta for about an hour or so, and then they checked his dad's phone record, and not long after this call with his mum, his dad was on the phone to a lawyer. They were lawyered up, they got an attorney, and police were like, well, why have you got an attorney? If you're claiming you don't know what happened to Gabby, this is all a little bit sus and this just doesn't look good on you. They found photos that Brian took when he was on his hike alone of dead animals, and it was quite dark and disturbing, and officers were just like, this is strange, and at this point they know that he was the one who took Gabby's life. When Brian returns back to the van after he's dropped off by Norma, he gets his text messages up and texts Gabby. Now, he's made it look like he has an alibi for himself, like he's texting her from her phone and his at the same time to make it look like she's opening and reading his messages. He's saying, where are you, you know, I'm at the fan, and he's making it look like she's gone missing and he's trying to find out where she is. He drives the fan back to his family's home in Florida, and he even uses Gabby's credit card to pay for it. He transfers himself from Gabby's account $700 as well, saying this in the description, making it look like Gabby gave him the money. Like, why would she give him the money and the fan? And there's proof that he drove the fan back because of her credit card details, stopping off at petrol stations. But yet he lied to officers saying that he flew back to the house. So already he's lying, and none of this is adding up. Now that Brian's on the run and police are out looking for him, they've been looking for him for days, and the weather out there takes a turn, and the reserve where that he was known to go hiking is flooded. So this makes the search harder, and it's closed off to the public. It's not long after opened up to the public, however it's still quite flooded, and his parents, who go out and search for Brian, find his waterproof bag in like 15 minutes, which is strange. It's just so bizarre. And then 45 minutes later they find his body. So people were searching for him for like days and weren't able to find him. You know, they had helicopters out, they had horses, they had sniffer dogs, and no one found his body. It was his parents. So everyone's questioning this. It's like, did they know that he was going out there to take his life? And he was like, this is the spot that you're going to find me in. It's all just a little bit strange. They claimed that they knew where he would hike, his favourite place. And it just raises questions of why didn't they tell investigators this who were doing a search, because they would have found him a lot sooner and wouldn't have wasted everyone's time and police resources. His parents claimed that they helped with the search and realised Brian wasn't coming back when they were alerted about their car. The car was left for like a long period of time, hours, possibly days, and it got ticketed, and this raised a notification to Roberta, and it was strange because she knew Brian took the car but thought he would be back at this point, so that led them to then go and help with the search rescue for their son. Investigators searched what was in the bag, and there was a note. He basically said in the note that he took Gabby's life because she was begging him to. She had fallen and hurt herself and thought it was merciful. He was found with a gunshot wound to the head, and his body was so badly decomposed down to the bone due to the weather, and it is also reported that animals were nibbling on his carcass. And some people say that they don't think he's dead. It's something to do with dental records, and the mum worked at a dentist or knew someone in the FBI, but the police have confirmed it's his body. Like, he went out there to take his life. He's a coward, and he couldn't deal with all the pressure and everyone outside his house. He knew he wasn't going to get away with the murder of Gabby. Gabby's mum, dad and her family and siblings flew out to where her body was located to sort of like make a memorial place for her. There's this photo of them all taken together, and there's like an orb, and they believed it's Gabby and like her spirit, and they felt her presence there. Her mum has also started a fundraising page, like an awareness page in memory of Gabby, and it's helped a lot of people who are in domestic violence relationships escape it. And her dad and stepmom took parts of the fan and put it in the home as like a little shrine in memorial for Gabby, and they got the fan crushed because her dad didn't want people buying the fan or like making up, like, you know, making money off of it, saying, oh, this is Gabby's fan, you know, this is what happened here. So they had it crushed.
What we have here is all the stuff from, well, some stuff from Gabby's van. So we actually took her gas tank.
We crushed the van.
Yeah. So we took that off.
That's the gas tank.
That's the gas tank. So yeah, we crushed the van.
Gabby's cause of death was blunt force trauma and strangulation, and yeah, Brian said in his note that she fell and hurt herself, so those two don't correspond whatsoever. He's obviously lying, and he's taken his life because he knew he wasn't going to get away with it, and he probably could never live with the guilt of taking his girlfriend's life. This is the story of Gabby Petito. Like I said, this is a Netflix documentary, so definitely go and check that out if you haven't seen it already. It's 3 episodes long, and it will cover more base of the facts than I mentioned in this video. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe and comment below. Thank you. Bye.